All we wanted was opportunity.
Just
Lord knows.
It's your worst nightmare. It's my first night here, and this girl right here, who knows what
she knows.
So I'm going through her phone. If she go to the bathroom and her purse right there, I don't trust
these hoes at all.
But that's just a result of me paying attention to all these women that think like men with the same intentions. Talking strippers and models that try to gain attention. Even a couple porn stars that I'm ashamed to mention. But Weezy and Stunner, my only role models. Half and Jordan, my only role models. That's why I walk around with all this gold on, and every time I run into these
Brian,
niggas,
you better tighten up, Brian.
Bottom sixes and
Brian, you better tighten up, Brian.
All of the little accents that make me a king. I never hear the disses they try and point out.
Hey, I'm letting this whole shit rock too. I'm letting this whole shit rock.
Make it a thing. I'm more concerned with niggas thinking about Christmas in August.
Do anything about gifts for their daughters.
Get some shake a brick in the press and chef it like Mrs. Fields. They making the cookie stretch. I know it so well. I know the hustle so well. It's not like I'm working overnight. It's right by the motel. Drug money, outfit, record clean.
Spend it all on me and my fucking team.
Matching rollies for real.
Woo.
Matching rovers for real. Since they say they been, we actually going for real.
Woo.
I'm really killing shit. Fuck all the jiggy rapping. I'm going trigger happy just to see my niggas happy. Mixtape legend, underground kings. Looking for the right way to do the wrong things. With my new bitch that's living in Palm Springs. Young ass nigga, lifelong dreams. They take the greats from the past and compare us. I wonder if they'd ever survive in this era.
I'm letting the whole thing rock, man. I'm letting the whole thing rock. It's goodies.
Like Halloween decorations.
It's a lifestyle.
Things that I hear they be fun at. Never the flow though.
They know I run that.
Fuck you all, I claim that whenever I change rap forever, the gang back together, yeah. Why am I remain that forever in the same place my brother Wayne at forever? I'm a descendant of either Marley or Hendrix. I haven't figured it out cause my story is far from finished. I'm hearing all of the jokes. I know that they trying to push me. I know that showing emotion don't ever mean I'm a pussy. Know that I don't make music for niggas who don't get pussy. So those are the ones I count on to diss me or overlook me.
Lord knows, Lord knows.
I'm heavy, I got my weight up. Robinson boost the rate up. It's time that somebody paid up. A lot of niggas came up off of a style that I made up. But if all I hear is me, then who should I be afraid of? Bought a white ghost, now shit is getting spooky. Very, very scary, like shit you see in the movies. In this bitch, y'all drinks on the house like Snoopy. That's why all the real soldiers salute me. Trill nigga,
what's up?
You know I love this. YOLO,
you only live once.
I'm going so hard, my nigga.
I'm letting it rock, yo. Hey, fast forward another minute and a half if you want to get past this part, but I'm turning this bitch. I ain't gonna lie.
I fell in love with the pen, started fucking the ink.
Woo.
The hustle's an art, I painted what I would think.
Woo.
Still allergic to broke, prescription straight to the paper. Destined for greatness, but got a place in Jamaica. Villa on the water with a wonderful view.
Only fat nigga in the sauna with juice.
When they got a yacht, I'm talking carnival crew. Just talking like hoes, they mad, they not in my shoe. The red bottom boss, in the bottom bar. Every bi-week shit, I'm on the bar. Murder say these bins and that rolling double law. Headlights flicking, looking like a falling star. Every day them hammers bang, whipping yay like anime. I run the game, but the ladies think I'm running game. Mink coats make your woman wanna fornicate.
Rose, I'm getting cake, left short of great. Welcome. Hey, listen. All I can say is, Bron better tighten up. AD better come back. And the LA Lakers, the LA Clippers should be extremely worried about the future of their organization. They backs are against the ropes. But we'll get into all of that. Welcome to the Good Talk Podcast, G2S Lifestyle, G2S Entertainment. Goodies in Two Shoes, exclusive G2S Entertainment Productions. And welcome. Y'all heard it in the beginning, but I'll reinforce it. If you haven't followed us on socials already, IG, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, do that. If you just search Goodies in Two Shoes, if you spell it correctly, then everything will pop up. Goodies, space, in apostrophe, space, the letter 2, shoes. And like I said, everything will pop up and you'll be able to connect with us on socials. Welcome to the Good Talk Podcast. A lot to get through today. I'm going to try to keep my time a little condensed a bit, but again, we'll make sure that we're able to get through everything. So we'll start off with some sports news here. So let's get into some sports news. Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, they fight this weekend. I've been very critical of this matchup. The rules were announced yesterday. The biggest thing to highlight is the fact that there will be no winner determined. No winner will be determined. So in that instance, there will be no judges. So this is extremely, it is 1,000% an exhibition match. And again, this is what I figured was going to be the case. Floyd isn't going to jeopardize his undefeated record for a YouTuber, So that's why I had a big problem with this when the fight was initially announced. But hey, listen, it'll give us something to watch Saturday night. I believe that it's scheduled. The pay-per-view is scheduled to begin at 10. So yeah, have that. Sixers center Joel Embiid has a small meniscus tear in his right knee. And the team is considering him day-to-day right now. He missed last night's Game 5 against the Wizards, even though the 76ers were able to pull out that win and ultimately eliminate the Washington Wizards from contention. It's going to be extremely, extremely interesting to see how this injury with Joel Embiid is going to play out. He's dealt with injuries really throughout the entirety of his career. This season has been, pretty much the same story. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. The Atlanta Hawks, they look really well. They look very, very good right now. So, we're going to have to, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll just leave it there. That is going to be the 1-5 matchup. Both of those teams advanced last night. Atlanta was able to knock off the Knicks, and Philly was able to knock off Washington. So that injury is big, man. That injury is big because it's very apparent that the Philadelphia 76ers are a much better basketball team when Joel Embiid is on the court. And when he is not present or available, their game declines tremendously. So we'll see. We're going to keep a close eye on that throughout the duration of the playoffs. Big blow to the Philadelphia 76ers. And again, the team is listing him as day-to-day. So whatever that means, that's what they're listing him as. I did see another report that they were hopeful that he would return this series against the Atlanta Hawks. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Another thing to cover, Coach K announced yesterday that he will retire after this upcoming season. And what a career it has been, man. Coach K has done so much for the game of basketball, not only on the college level, but just on a global, international level as well. The winningest coach in college basketball history, numerous gold medals, 5 national championships. Just a very well-decorated man. 1,170 career wins. So, shout out to Coach K. As a Duke fan, Coach K, thank you very much for everything you've done for the program, for the game of basketball. And I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Sights on 6, baby. Sights on 6. So, we gotta go get it. We gotta go get the job done this year, man. We gotta go get number 6. Send Coach K out, Send Coach K out with a bang. Nothing short of that. It should be acceptable for this particular season. We got to reward him with another natty. Let's see. Celtics make it official. Danny Ainge retires, and now Brad Stevens is the president of basketball operations. I really don't know, and so I'm gonna try my best today to not get worked up, spaz, like none of that shit. I'm gonna try my best, but this particular topic is one of the ones that really pisses me off the most because I don't understand how the fuck Brad Stevens gets the opportunity to be in this position. I don't know. I don't understand. Very below average coach, in my opinion. Yes, he got the Celtics to the playoffs each year he was there. But he showed me nothing. He showed me nothing at all. So I'm extremely confused on how that happened. We're gonna see in what direction the Celtics decide to go with their head coaching vacancy, their newly acquired head coaching vacancy. And yeah, I don't see how these coaches from Caucasian descent continue to be placed in a position of power as it pertains to sports when they haven't proved anything. We saw earlier in the season with Steve Nash. We're seeing it again now. I mean, and the Steve Nash is just really what just jumped into my head instantly. But I mean, you've never seen anybody have the potential to coach 3 superstars with 0 coaching experience. You haven't. I don't give a damn how good of a point guard he was, none of that. So, I mean, again, it's just one of those things where it's frustrating to see. There are numerous African Americans that, in my opinion, would be more fit for this position. But, here we are. It's the same story, different day. And I would advise for anybody that didn't see what Stephen A had to say on this particular topic, I would advise you guys to go check that out. It's about 3.5 to 4 minute clip. Go check that out. Because I can't say it better. I couldn't have said it better. Stephen A broke it down beautifully, and really just echoing the sentiment of, I would have to say, the majority of African Americans in this country, especially in the world of sports. So, we'll see how it plays out. We're going to keep our eye on who the Celtics have as candidates for that vacancy. We'll make sure we tune into that, and we'll just go from there. But I will say Sam Cassell definitely should be in the consideration for the Boston Celtics head coaching job. Most definitely. So we'll leave that there. So let's jump into a couple of our scores here. Scores from last night. Cubs beat the Padres 6-1. They added on to their lead atop the NL Central. 2 RBIs and a home run for Javi Baez. Anthony Rizzo also had 2 ribbies, 3 hits, and 4 plate appearances. The Cubs are looking sharp. The Cubs are looking very sharp this year. We'll see if they're able to maintain the pace that they're at right now. Astros beat the Boston Red Sox 2-1 to complete a 3-game sweep. No home runs for either team last night. Great pitching. Framber Valdez going 7 innings deep for the Stros, only allowing 1 run on 5 hits. So that was very impressive to see. Yankees were able to beat the Rays 4-3. Aaron Judge 1 of 4 from the plate with a strikeout. Home run from Gio Urshela, 1 of 3 from Giancarlo. And then Clint Frazier also added 2 ribbies on just 1 hit. The Yankees were able to pull within 3.5 of the division leader Devil Rays. And then we had 3 closeout games last night. First, we had the Sixers defeating the Wizards 129-112. They were able to get them the job done in 5 there. Trey in the game closed out the Knicks in Madison Square Garden 103-89. They were able to get it done in 5 as well. As were the Utah Jazz, who were able to handle the Grizzlies. They defeated them by a score of 126-110. And then there was one other game, NBA-wise. Let me go check that one out real quick. Let's see. And, of course, the Mavericks and Clippers. That score was 105-100. And, of course, y'all know that we are going to go into details of the NBA playoffs, and in particular those games. So let's get into it. We're gonna do things a tad bit different. I'm not gonna review the game of the week just yet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give y'all the game of the week for this week. The game of the week for this week is the Mavericks and Clippers on Friday night. The series is currently 3-2, advantage Mavs, and right now is make or break time for the LA Clippers organization for the next decade and a half. It is because I'm going to tell you something. Based on what we've seen the past 2 or 3 years and the inability of the LA Clippers to get anything done in the playoffs, I would have to imagine and say that it's going to discourage any superstar from going to that organization within the next couple of years. Like I said, decade and a half, right? Especially when you see, we got the LA Lakers right in the same exact building. And they were able to win a championship this last year. Now, given their backs are against the wall right now, 3-2 against the Phoenix Suns, but at the very least, they won a championship last year. So even if they do get eliminated within the next 2 games against the Suns, hey, it just is what it is. Now, for the Clippers, it's a completely different story. And that's what we have right now. I was on record saying last week that I believe Kawhi Leonard is already a free agent. I believe Kawhi Leonard's agent is already fielding offers and potential moves for Kawhi Leonard during this offseason. I do not believe if the LA Clippers don't get the job done, not only just game 6, if they're not able to, even if they're able to push it to a game 7, should they lose, I still believe Kawhi Leonard is gone. I really do. So this to me is probably one of the biggest games of the NBA season as a whole because it has so much riding on it. And like I said, the future of the Clippers organization is in question right now. It is. If they're not able to get it done, you can pretty much thank Luka for that. Because my God, what an absolute job he's doing against that team. Luka has had one game that he's been average. Because I can't even say it was a bad game. He's had one game that he was average. The game where you saw him bashing the damn water bottle against his head, his shoulders all shot. You know what I'm saying? He had one game that he was average. And ever since then, matter of fact, every time he sees the Clippers in the playoffs, it just seems like he has a personal vendetta against them. And it just seems as though, he makes a point to kill the LA Clippers because they do, in fact, have statistically the 2 top perimeter defenders in the league. And it just simply hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered for Luka Doncic. This is a very big game Friday night. This is a must-win situation for the LA Clippers, not only for this season and to avoid elimination, but it's a must-win for the next decade to decade and a half of their franchise because nobody's coming out there, based on what we've seen from Paul George in the playoffs, not only this year, not only last year, but, pretty much every time he's touched the playoffs since Indiana, it's going to be extremely hard for the Clippers to convince another superstar to come team up with Paul George in a Los Angeles Clippers uniform. So that is our game of the week. With all of that being said, I do predict the Clippers will win this game. Because it's like, bro, if y'all can't win this one with everything that's riding on it right now, it's not meant to be. If y'all recall back to my initial predictions, I just want y'all to know that I did have the Clippers in 4 in this series. And boy, was I mistaken. But I do believe Friday night, game 6, I do believe the LA Clippers will be able to pull the game out I do. I think they'll go to Dallas. I think they'll get the job done there. And then game 7, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see because, I mean, this series, it's been up and down, back and forth. But Dallas looks really good. Dallas looks really good. They seem to have eliminated. The only thing with Dallas is it's very hard for them to generate offense when Luka Doncic isn't on the court, right? So that's the biggest thing for them. And that's going to definitely have to be acknowledged going forward for the future of that organization and what may have you. But Clips in 8, I spent too much time on that one, the preview. But like I said, again, Clips in 8. I'm currently 4-1 in my predictions because the Lakers, and we're going to do our review now of last week's game of the week. I'm 4-1. The Lakers were able to pull out game 3 against the Phoenix Suns. And that game was played in LA. The Lakers won by 14. I think I had them winning by 9 or 10, somewhere in that range. So, they covered in that sense. But let's just do a quick review of that game. So, first 15 seconds of the game, Frank Vogel wastes his timeout on one of the calls that they gave to AD. One of the calls they gave to AD, like I said, he wastes his challenge already. Fouled Jay Crowder. I think that he ended up winning that challenge. But after the first quarter, 28-27 advantage Phoenix. Very physical in the first. And this was a bit discouraging when I initially saw it, but the Lakers ultimately, like I said, were able to pull it out. AD had 10 and 5. Schroeder had 7 on 3 of 3 shooting. Bron had 5, 1 and 2, and the Lakers still trailed by 1 at the end of that quarter. That to me was like, wow, this Phoenix team really is for real. And I've been preaching that I've been yelling that from the rooftops for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now. Legitimately. I've been on it. Everybody knows if you listen to the podcast, if you see the content, everybody knows I've been on the Phoenix Suns hype train. I've been saying Phoenix in 7, So that's what we have. But after the first quarter, the Lakers did trail by a point, 28-27 after the first quarter. Fast forward to the end of the second, the Lakers were able to retake the lead, 43-40. Then AD took over, 18 points for him, 10 for LeBron. And the Lakers were able to outscore the Suns 33-23 in the third quarter. And there was no looking back at that point. So let's just stay right there. Let's stay on that series. Like I said, the Lakers were able to get game 3. I think that it did. It made the series 2-1. So yeah, now let's go to game 5. Let's just go ahead and fast forward to game 5. Game 4, the Lakers did win that game as well. So let's get to game 5 because this was what happened after we recorded Tuesday. So this game was on Tuesday night. I believe it was at 10 p.m. on TNT. Bro, this shit was just mind-boggling to me. Because even though Anthony Davis didn't participate in this game, I expected much more from the LA Lakers. Defensively, they just looked like garbage. Offensively, they couldn't hit any open shots. Bron is just diming these niggas up. They act like they scared to shoot, dribbling in the double teams, forcing, allowing turnover. It was just bad, bro. Defensively, 18 points for Devin Booker in the first quarter. So off rip, you have an issue. Off rip, you have an issue. And if y'all listen to my take early Tuesday, I said, bro, it's gonna be hard to contain Devin Booker simply because Anthony Davis isn't there and you don't have that post presence. So at that point, Devin Booker is gonna feel like he can do whatever he wants to do. I said that Tuesday. If you haven't listened to episode 7, go check it out right now. Pause this one. Go check it out right now. I said it. And it's exactly what happened. 18 points for D-Book in the first quarter. Just absolutely balling. Feeling early in the game, you could just tell, bro, like Anthony Davis not being there was just going to be a problem. Like, you could tell from the jump, man, for real. Like, you could just feel it. The Lakers seemed like they came out flat. You know, they started twin. He had a couple of DNPs, you know, in the series. So I was kind of confused on how you go twin over Trez there because, they probably played in the same amount of games. So, like I said, you could just feel it. You could just feel it for real. Like, it was ugly. It was very, very ugly. As a Lakers fan, you should be pissed off. If you are a Lakers fan, if you are a LeBron supporter, whatever, you should be pissed off with the performance that the LA Lakers put on Tuesday night because it was terrible. Let's see what else. It was extreme. And again, Tuesday, I said, bro, that the importance of this game was immense. Right? Because if the Lakers were able to steal Game 5 in Phoenix with no AD, I believe that would have done numbers on the Phoenix Suns' confidence going into Game 6, going back to LA. I really believe that. But the Lakers weren't even able to put up a fight. And this is why I said, man, I said this, like, I be telling y'all shit. I really be telling y'all shit for real. And I know that because it's not the popular thing to say, you know, or it seems like it has extreme shock value. It seems extremely, like just a hot take. And like, I'm just saying shit just to say it. But I'll be telling y'all this shit, like, for real. I told y'all before the playoffs even started, I said, bro, I don't believe this series with the Phoenix Suns is what the LA Lakers want with an unhealthy LeBron and an unhealthy AD. I said that, right? And we know how AD is. We know AD is injury prone. We already know that. So any little thing that can hold him out, I believe just mentally, he's going to allow it to hold him out. I do. That's just how I see AD. Again, Tuesday I said AD, we can just go ahead and say he's a top 5 big in the league. Even if you want to say he's a top 5 player, I wouldn't necessarily agree. But even if you want to say that, he's a baller. He's a dog. He's a stud. All of that. But he's soft. Again, I reemphasize that. I said that for the past 2 or 3 weeks now too. He's soft, bro. And I said, this is not a series you want an unhealthy AD and an unhealthy LeBron participating in. And I think that is very evident now more than ever. Because now the Lakers' backs are against the ropes. So and now you're stuck with you're at a crossroads. You're at a crossroads if you're the Lakers organization. If you're Frank Vogel. Do you run the risk of potentially throwing AD out there and it's not AD at 100%? So now he's a liability? Or do you sit him a game in hopes that your team will respond this time, which they weren't able to do Tuesday night, in hopes that your team will respond and be halfway competent and put up a fight? But then again, it's no turning back if you choose option B. Because at this point, your back is against the wall. You have no wiggle room. You have no game that's guaranteed after Thursday night. After tonight, there's no game that's guaranteed. So like I said, we haven't gotten a report on AD. We haven't gotten a report on what they plan to do with him. We simply just don't know at this point. But it's very, it's... Again, I said an unhealthy AD and unhealthy LeBron is not what you want if you're the LA Lakers going up against the Phoenix Suns, bro. Because this team they're too deep. They're too deep. They execute too well. They're very well coached. They have the leadership of Chris Paul. given we don't know what his status will be either tonight because of that bullshit play that Wesley Matthews pulled after the Lakers were already down 20 plus, which I don't even know why Chris Paul was still in the game, but that's neither here nor there. That bullshit that Wesley Matthews pulled, we don't know what the status of Chris Paul will be. We don't know. I mean, he played 33 minutes, 34 minutes, somewhere in that range Tuesday night. Let's go check. Check that, 23. That's all they needed from him. 3 of 9 from the field, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 23 minutes played. So we don't know what the status is going to be on him. But, I mean, if we're getting 23 minutes from Chris Paul and me as a Suns player, Suns personnel, Suns coach, Suns fan, whatever, if we're getting 23 minutes from Chris Paul and we're still winning basketball games by 30, then I'll be damned. Because that's telling me a lot. I mean, just an absolutely stellar performance from Phoenix Tuesday. And on the other hand, the Los Angeles Lakers look like absolute shit, bro. I mean, just pathetic. Like, to a point where Bron couldn't even sit and watch that shit no more, dog. And I know that's going to be the narrative, Bron giving up on his team, this and that. But my nigga, you put yourself in that man's shoes. Bron was, now I'm not going to shoot him as much bail, but at the same time, I'm going to shoot him bail because he wasn't as aggressive as the Los Angeles Lakers needed him to be with the absence of Anthony Davis. He wasn't. I can acknowledge that. He wasn't. But in that same breath, I mean, he was aggressive in the first quarter. And this nigga is 36, 37 years old, bro. You're 18. So it's not like he can do that. I've been telling y'all, this nigga Bron can't keep doing that shit. I keep telling y'all, and I know that, you know, a lot of people will say, we don't want to hear about the A's now because every time he does something good, Bron fans use it to their benefit, this and that. But listen, bro, the reality of the situation is this man has been playing professional basketball at an elite level for 18 years. This nigga has played a whole lifetime in the NBA. So it's not me necessarily shooting him bail. It's just me being honest. He wasn't as aggressive as he needed to be. He wasn't as aggressive as we're accustomed to seeing from LeBron James. So we put responsibility on LeBron in that sense. But, I mean, damn, he's dotting these guys up, bro. I can't tell you how many times I see him pass to KCP, Schroeder, Kuzma, passing to all these niggas. They have absolutely beautiful looks at the basket, and they decide to dribble out, pass the ball, dribble into a turnover, this and that. I mean, it's just embarrassing, bro. I would have did the same shit. Like, I don't care how y'all feel about it. I don't care what y'all think of me with me saying this. I don't give a fuck. If I'm LeBron James, I'm walking off the court too. Shit. And to be quite honest with you, he did good just sitting there until about 5-6 minutes left. Because I would have been gone after the damn fourth quarter. Like, oh, this is all y'all gonna give me? Okay, don't even worry about it. Let me go ahead and start my recovery from this game. You know, Bron is big on his body, whatever, you know, $7 million. We all heard that shit. $7 million a year on his body. Let me go ahead and just start this shit. Me and AD go kick it in the locker room while y'all niggas go ahead and finish this game out. Because if y'all ain't giving me no more than that, then, I mean, shit. It ain't really no point in me being here. What's the point? For me to sit here and watch y'all get y'all ass beat? No way. No way. All right, so in that same breath, like I said, yes, LeBron has to be more aggressive when he's in a position to be aggressive. And you would expect more from LeBron James. But at times, I know that we all know that the expectations on LeBron James at times are very unrealistic. This is a man that already came out and said that, you know, he would never be 100% ever again. He already said that. And that's why I got on Molly Corum's head, because she felt like it was a narrative or whatever that he was trying to create. But if you sat back and you've actually watched this series, every single game of this series, like I have, you can see that he wasn't lying, bro. He wasn't lying. Like I thought that, maybe he could be on some bullshit, maybe he go get some shots or something, put a little shot in his ass or something like that. Maybe, he'll bounce back and it's going to be machine blind like we've always seen every year. But he wasn't lying. I did the whole intro speech. I think it was podcast 4 or whatever, saying that the LeBron James era could potentially be over. And I think that is like more abundantly clear now than ever. I mean, look at it. LeBron James hasn't been the best player on his team this series. So in that case, LeBron James damn sure hasn't been the best player in the NBA playoffs. Because if you look at what Luka Doncic is doing, it's just absolutely phenomenal. So I really do believe when he made that statement, he was being 100% truthful. Now, maybe next year we're having a different conversation simply because, the Lakers did just participate in the NBA Finals in July. And I believe they only had 3 months, maybe 4 as recovery. But things are changing in the NBA. And I think that LeBron James' reign is done. As much as it pains me to say, I must give y'all the truth. I must be honest with y'all. That's what I feel. And I think that it's abundantly clear. We've never seen LeBron James getting embarrassed like this in an NBA playoffs game, period, ever. And this is the game 5, you know what I'm saying? This is game 5, 2-2 swing game. 83% of, teams that win game 5 in a tie series like this one was, 83% of the teams that win that game 5 go on to win the series. All of this. So we're expecting LeBron to be a little bit more hungry, a little bit more aggressive, trying to get to his spots, hit baskets, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe it's just time to acknowledge the fact that he might not be able to do that anymore. But you have to credit the Phoenix Suns and what they've done with LeBron James, and not only LeBron James, but the LA Lakers for this series. Because what the Phoenix Suns are doing right now is the biggest statement that you can make. We don't give a fuck that you're the NBA champions. We don't give a fuck that you're the defending champions. We don't care that you have LeBron James. We don't care that you have Anthony Davis. We damn sure don't care about Frank Vogel. We don't care about none of that shit. At the end of the day, you got to step on the court and you got to play basketball. And the Phoenix Suns have had no problem doing that at all this series. They've come out and they punch. I'm telling you, every game the Phoenix Suns have come out, they punch the Lakers in the mouth. And they've been the one to initiate the contact. Every time. Jay Crowder, if you see the way he's playing LeBron, I told y'all Jay Crowder was going to be very, very imperative to the success of the Phoenix Suns in this series. And boy, was I right about that as well. Boy, was I right about that as well. You see these niggas, I mean, I don't know what it is, but Jay Crowder barking at Bron cussing at him, Bron doing this and that. Jay Crowder, he still ain't backing down. And it stems from that, bro. It stems from that hunger. It stems from that will to win. It stems from that want to. It stems from y'all niggas are the defending champions, but we really got something to prove. Because we've been doing this throughout the regular season. Now we got to show people, look, this shit it ain't play. It ain't a game. And I feel like that's the mentality that the Phoenix Suns have 1 through 15. I really do, because if you look at it, they're going 9, 10, 11, 12 guys deep, bro. They are. And there's very minimal fall off when these guys come onto the court. It's very, very interesting to see, man. This series has captivated my attention more than any other series. Maybe the Dallas and Clipper series, but really this one is the one that I've been completely locked in on. Because there's so many stories, so many storylines, You know, so many players that have potential to be great, like Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, etc. Then, of course, you have LeBron, you have AD. So this series has just been phenomenal, honestly. Let's get back to this game a little bit. The Suns just came out in the first half and blasted LA. Really just blasted them off the face of the earth. 30-point lead for the Suns at halftime. I think the Lakers shot like 2 of 20 in the second quarter. Something horrendous, bro. Like, just terrible. 7 points for Bron on 30% shooting and 3 turnovers. That was Bron's stats for the first half. 7 points, 30% shooting, 3 turnovers. 7 turnovers for the Lakers as a whole. 31% shooting for the entire half. On the other side of things, the Suns they were hitting everything damn near. 44% from 3, 54% from the field. At half, Devin Booker had 22. 14 from Campaign off the bench. And Campaign, I mean, what a story that is. What a story that is for the Chicago Bulls coach to come out and say, we knew 2 days into practice that Cameron Payne wasn't an NBA player. For him to have the audacity and the gall to come out of his mouth and say that about Cameron Payne, and then for Cameron Payne to perform the way that he's performed this playoff series is just beautiful to watch. It's poetry. It's poetic. 14 points in 7 minutes for Cameron Payne. That was just in the first half. And the bench was just dominant. Phoenix bench just dominated the LA Lakers bench. It wasn't even close. Poetry in motion offensively for the Phoenix Suns throughout the duration of the game. 16 assists in the first quarter. I think they had like 2 or 3 turnovers, maybe, and 16 assists, maybe even 1. I'm not even 100% sure. I have to look that up. But it was very minimal. Very minimal mistakes made offensively as it pertains to a ball security standpoint for the Phoenix Suns in that first half. And I mean, if you go down 30 and you punch a team in the mouth the way the Phoenix Suns did to the LA Lakers Tuesday night, there's no recovering. And there was no recovering in this particular game. Devin Booker ended with 37 and 5 on 13 and 23 shooting. Jay Crowder had 9 on 33% shooting. Mikal Bridges 13, 6 and 3. DeAndre Ayton, who was he was quiet. But listen, if I'm getting 8 points from DeAndre Ayton and 9 points from Chris Paul and I'm still winning by 30, it's a good day. It's a good day, and that speaks volumes about my bench. 16 from Cameron Payne off the bench. 11 from Cam Johnson. He added 3 rebounds to that as well. 50% shooting. Frank Kaminsky gave him a little something with 3 points. I think he converted to and 1. He also had 4 assists. Etwan Moore, Galloway. So that's what I'm saying, bro. These guys can go 9, 10, 11, 12 deep. And obviously some of these guys only got the opportunity to play because the game was so out of reach. But at the same time, that shows you they have the ability to do it. Because sometimes, when guys come on, guys that, they might be 9th, 10th, 11th off the bench. When you have those guys come on, the league can tend to get cut down. Shit like that. Make it look a little bit better than it was from a final score standpoint, right? But that wasn't the case with the Phoenix Suns. They led at halftime by 30. They finished the game winning by 30. So just very impressive, man. Very impressive. Tonight is the night. Tonight is the night. We'll see it. Let me check real quick just for y'all. Let me check real quick and see if we've had any report, anything on Anthony Davis, and then we'll move on from this series. Nothing. Questionable. Yeah. So, and really, like I said, I don't even know if it's beneficial for the Lakers to put him out on the court. So moving on to the Portland and Denver series, and we're just going to work from Tuesday night forward. We'll cover what happened last night, given there wasn't much to really talk about, but we'll talk about a couple things and how some of the games last night will affect everything going forward and what we see there. Portland and Denver, and what a game this was, bro. I mean, my God, I believe Denver was up 22 points midway through the second quarter. Portland was able to fight back to cut it down to 3 by halftime. Then they jumped on Denver in the third quarter, had a 2-point lead. So that was, I think it ended up being like a 27 or 28 point swing, something crazy. I mean, just very interesting to see. And it all stemmed from Dame Lillard, bro. It all stemmed from Dame Lillard. 12 3-pointers made. That broke the record for most 3-pointers in a playoff game. 55 points and the efficiency that he shot with, bro. That was the craziest part to see. 17 to 24 from the field. Oh, and not to mention he had 10 assists as well. I mean, just beautiful. Like, what a performance. What a performance from Damian Lillard, bro. But I think that it's probably time, and I know because the type player that Damian Lillard is, I know that this is going to fall by the wayside when I say it, but I'm sure that if you're listening right now or watching on YouTube right now, I'm sure you feel the same way. It's time for Damian Lillard to leave Portland. It is, because even if they win this series, you know, let's take a look at who they'll have to play should they win this series. They'll have to play the winner of Phoenix and LA, which I believe is going to be Phoenix, which in turn will result in Portland getting their heads blasted off of their shoulders. So really, it's just time for Damian Lillard to move on from the Portland Trailblazers. Let's take a look at the other stats of that game. 55, 6, and 10 from Dame, like I stated earlier. 18, 7, and 7 from CJ McCollum on 7 of 22 shooting. He has to be better, bro. He has to be better. I mean, Jesus. He has to do better. Down the stretch, he's turning the ball over, taking dumbass shots. And this is why I said it's time for Dame to get gone, bro. Get traded or trade CJ for a bigger guard, a bigger piece, something. But this shit is just not going to work, man. Dame can't keep wasting his talent like this, because on this pace, he'll never get a ring. He'll never get a ring on this pace, man. And it's just so depressing to see, because he's such a crazy talent, bro. He's such a crazy talent. Like, my nigga, listen, this might be unpopular to say, a hot take, whatever. Dame has a better ability to shoot the basketball than Steph Curry. Because Steph, when he's taking these shots and shit, you know, from the logo, yeah, it looks good. It looks cute. But more times than not, he's missing when he's pulling from 30 plus away, 32, 33, 34 feet away. Damian Lillard trains for that shit, bro. Damian Lillard takes jump shots from the logo. And it doesn't matter, like, bro, you can be draped on him, bro. Like, them two shots. He hit one big-time shot in the fourth to send the game to overtime. That was absolutely beautiful. I think he drained that over Michael Porter Jr. Just stunning to watch. Then in the first overtime, he hit more big-time shots. 3-pointers, I might add, from 30-plus feet away from the basket. So, I mean, it's just time for Dame to go, bro. It's just time for Dame to go. You know, it was a stellar performance by him. I can't go without giving credit where it's due to the Denver Nuggets. 10 of 13 shooting from Michael Porter, 26 points, 12 rebounds. Beautiful performance from him. And what a sight to see with him forming into his own with the absence of Jamal Murray. I mean, this has been beautiful. I love it. I love it, because Michael Porter has a potential to be an absolute stud in this league. And he's showing that. He's showing that. He showed it earlier before the playoffs began when he stepped into that number 2 once Jamal went down, and he's showing it now on a big stage. Like I said, 10 of 13 shooting from him, 18 points from Austin Rivers on 50% shooting. Jokic shot just a little under 50%, 14 to 31, 38, 11, and 9 was his stat line. Aaron Gordon had 14 and 10. And then Monte Morris off the bench. My God. 28, 3, and 5 from him on 7 of 18 shooting. And they just seemed like they didn't have an answer for him. They didn't have an answer for Monte Morris. They didn't. I mean, he was doing whatever he felt like doing on that court. Now, given he did miss a big-time free throw in either the fourth or overtime, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but he did miss a big-time free throw to help Portland Trailblazers extend the game. He did. That can't go without acknowledging. But at the same time, I mean, Jesus. What a job from him. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. They're up 3-2 right now in that series, and that game 6 is tonight. I mean, so we have 2 great games. 8 o'clock tonight, Nuggets and Trailblazers. Absolutely 2 great games. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how the rest of this plays out. I mean, again, congratulations to Denver. Congratulations to Denver. There's nothing else that needs to be said except congratulations to Denver. We'll see how Portland responds tonight. Should Portland lose tonight, Damian Lillard should demand a trade, or he should go to the front office and demand pieces to be moved. Because we see this shit every year with Damian Lillard. We do. And I think that sometimes we forget the talent level and the ability of Damian Lillard throughout the season. Sometimes because he's not in a big market, because it's not popular to watch Trailblazers games, because they're not as nationally televised as these other teams. I believe sometimes we forget and take Damian Lillard for granted. But he shows us this in the playoffs every single year. And because the supporting cast around him isn't strong enough to compete with these other teams in the Western Conference, because we know how elite the Western Conference is, because that core is not strong enough to compete with these other teams, year in and year out, Damian Lillard and his talents and his ability to be one of the best players in the NBA goes to waste. That can't keep happening. If I'm Damian Lillard and my agent, one of 2 things must happen. I need another superstar, not CJ McCollum, because CJ McCollum is not a superstar, with all due respect. He's an outstanding player. He's not a superstar. I need another superstar. And if we can't make that happen, then I hate to tell you, y'all got to move me. I don't believe Damian Lillard is capable of demanding a trade, because I think he's just way too loyal to that city. But something has to change, bro. Something has to change. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just depressing to watch. It's beautiful and outstanding and great to watch, but to see how this man's career is being wasted, it's depressing. I mean, it's nothing short of depressing, really. God honest truth. All right, here we go. Again, that game tonight, that game 6 is tonight at 8 p.m. Game 1 of the doubleheader, we have that at 8. And then again, we have the Lakers and Suns at 10:30. Let's review a couple of the games from last night. 126 to 110 from the Jazz and Grizzlies. I told y'all Tuesday that I did believe that series was over. However, I was impressed with the Grizzlies throughout this playoffs. Not so much last night, because it seemed like they were dead men walking from the rip. I think they were down like 20, maybe like anywhere between 15 to 20 in the first quarter. You know, they came out flat. Donovan Mitchell was doing whatever he wanted, talking his shit to Dylan Brooks. I mean, just talking his shit to everybody, really. He did whatever he wanted. But like I said, it's not all flowers and roses for the Utah Jazz at this point either. Because, yes, they got out of round 1 against a Memphis Grizzlies team. But at what cost? Because as it looks right now, as it seems right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are extremely unsure on the status of Mike Conley. And I think he's scheduled to have an MRI today. So at what cost? Because if you lose Mike Conley and the way he was able to play this past series and how he's worked into the flow of the Utah Jazz offense and how him, Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell feed off of each other, et cetera, et cetera. If you lose Mike Conley, ooh, that hurts. That hurts bad. I mean, because he is an imperative part to the success of the Utah Jazz. He is. So we have to see what's going on with Mike Conley. Again, the Jazz were able to close out the Grizzlies last night in 5 games. Shout out to the Jazz for advancing. Very intrigued and interested to see how the Grizzlies will respond. You know, what moves they make this offseason to get Ja Morant, Jonas, Dylan Brooks, guys like that, some help. And hopefully that will be able to take them to the next level. But we'll see. That's going to be very interesting to see from the Memphis Grizzlies. Ice traded gang, man. Ice traded gang. I'm going to tell y'all this. The Hawks closed out the Knicks last night in 5 games, 103-89. So just take a look at the stat line first. Trae Young, 36, 4 and 9, 10-28 shooting. 14 and 15 from Clint Capella. He shot 6 of 7 from the field, so very efficient there. I have to be honest. I had the Knicks winning this series in 5 games. That's number 1. So that's definitely a big L. But just to touch on that series a little bit more, I mean, where the fuck was Julius Randel? Like, just abysmal shooting performance. He's hesitating, not confidence in his ability to score the basketball, dribbling into uncandid situations, getting caught in the air, passing the ball, trying to pass the ball out, turning the ball over. I mean, what the fuck, bro? What was that? I was not expecting that at all. And I have to put this much responsibility on Julius Randle's shoulders because he was the leader going into this series. He was, no matter how you want to look at it. And he just went ghost, bro. Like, he just went ghost. Let's take a look at what he did from the field. Like I said last night, he shot 8 of 21. Extremely poor, bro. No matter how you look at it, 8 of 21 is not a good shooting percentage. Slightly above 33%. That's not good. Don't let anybody try to tell you that that's good. That's terrible, really. So now let's go look at the games prior. 7 of 19 from the field. Game 4. Two of 15 from the field. Game 3. 5 of 16 from the field, and the New York Knicks only win in game 2. 5 of 16, 2 of 15, 8 of 21. And then game 1. Six of 23. I mean, I'm really just at a loss for words. This dude is somebody that, you know, I even came on this podcast and said should be acknowledged and should be in the MVP race. I said that. Dude who won the most improved player of the year. Gifted his award, I think, game 2. Only Knicks win of the series. It's just very, very puzzling to me, man. It was terrible. It was terrible. And this game showed me that regular season shit is cute, but it means nothing when playoff time comes around. It means absolutely nothing at all. In that same respect, a big shout out to Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose really carried the New York Knicks in this series, because the way they were getting beat, had D Rose not been present and had he not played at the ability that he played, at the efficiency and effectiveness that he played, had Derrick Rose not been able to do that, the New York Knicks would have been swept for one, and they would have lost by an average of 22 points or more. God honest truth. That's how bad this shit was. But again, respect to D Rose, because, this is an older guy. We know his injury history. And just the fact that he was able to battle through that and get to this stage once again, it's beautiful to see. But damn, where did Julius Randel go? Like 2 of 15, my nigga. 8 of 21 when you're facing elimination. Like, bro, I don't know. And in that same respect, Trae Young, my God. I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not the biggest Trae Young fan, but damn if he didn't show me a lot this series. Very impressive to see. Pretty much for the duration of this series, he did what he wanted whenever he felt like it. And he talked shit while he's doing it. If y'all know me, y'all know I love talking shit. I love seeing other niggas talk shit. I love talking shit. And I'm not even the biggest Trae Young fan at all. I really don't even like the nigga. Just because he think he tough. But let me tell you something. When you doing what he's doing on that basketball court, you can talk however you want to talk. Because you really ain't getting touched in the modern NBA. So you can talk however you want to talk if you murking these niggas the way he's doing. And to be honest, when that villain role was placed upon him after game 2, I did not believe Trae Young was going to be able to handle it when he returned back to New York. But then as you start seeing the rumblings that's going on in the media, the mind games that he's playing, the way he's letting his nuts drag on the court, et cetera, nigga taking a bow in the middle of Madison Square Garden, letting niggas know, like, yeah, Trae Young fully embraced that villain role. And now he will forever be a villain in Madison Square Garden. And I think he would have it no other way. He loves that. Trae Young showed me a different side of himself. Very, very impressive. Very impressive to me to watch what Trae Young was able to do this series. And I'm very intrigued and interested by this Hawks and 76ers series coming up. Joel Embiid or no Joel Embiid. And for the 76ers case, let's hope Joel Embiid will be healthy and ready to go come game 1 of the semifinals. Because the way that the Atlanta Hawks are playing right now, with John Collins, Capella, Trae Young, Herder, those guys, the way they're playing right now, the way they're feeling right now, after they just went into Madison Square Garden and embarrassed the New York Knicks. The way they're feeling right now, the 76ers can't afford anything less than 100% performance and effort. And for them to be 100%, they need Joel Embiid to be healthy. Because if he is not healthy and they have to go see the Atlanta Hawks, I don't know. I'll give my predictions. I'll probably do an exclusive YouTube video for my predictions of round 2 when everything is solidified, probably a day or so before round 2 begins. But once I get more information on Embiid, and really, I'm almost willing to say the Hawks will win this series. But I don't want to jump out the window. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see how everything plays off. I'm going to assess the situation. So y'all do not record me saying Atlanta, because that's not my official prediction quite yet. I have to look at some other things. But if somebody was forcing me right now and I had no other choice, life or death situation, and they say you must predict who will win this next round in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and they told me I had no other choice but to pick, I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. But as stated before, let me assess the situation before I can give y'all an official answer. Moving on. Sixers and Wizards. There was nothing to talk about this whole series. The Wizards were able to stay in this game for a little while. Ultimately, the 76ers pulled it out 129-112. There wasn't much to touch on this series. Russell Westbrook, I hate to say it, he folded. Didn't give his team 100% effort really throughout the duration of this series. And then the Wizards really were just overmatched. And I actually had the 76ers winning this series in 5 games. So Washington was able to steal one victory over the Philadelphia 76ers, but nothing much to really touch on. And really the biggest thing for the 76ers right now is just making sure Joel Embiid gets healthy. That is the biggest thing on the 76ers agenda right now. Because if you go into that Atlanta series, I'll reemphasize, if you go into this Atlanta series again with no Embiid or 50% Embiid, it's a recipe for disaster with the way this Atlanta Hawks team is playing. And that is the next round. That is officially what we have. The Eastern Conference is set. Now we're just waiting on the West. But we have Atlanta, Philly, and then we have Milwaukee and Brooklyn. So, that's set. And that is it for our NBA basketball for today. Again, 2 big games tonight. Denver and Portland at 8 p.m. TNT. Phoenix and LA, 10:30. Make sure y'all were tuned in, because it's going to be, it's going to be a show. Real shit. It's going to be a show. And yeah, I have Portland and LA tonight. I'm still holding true to Suns in 7. I think Anthony Davis comes back tonight. I think the Lakers will be in revenge mode. I think they will be in defend home court mode. And I think ultimately that will prove to be too much for Phoenix, especially with Chris Paul's health being in question at this very moment. But we will see, because obviously there's the potential and possibility of the Lakers being exited from the playoffs tonight for the first time ever in LeBron James' career in the first round. So we'll see. Make sure y'all tune in. We getting the bus and ain't not for discussion. Let's roll up a Russian. Lil' shawty, she cute and she give me concussion. Young Mason, he told me to run it. Hey, I'm like, hold up. I'm flexing, they saying I glowed up. Put a perky inside of my cola. Hotline blinging on Motorola. Like, wait, it's Ducey. I got the sauce. I'm lit forever. Ay, my money counter sitting on my dresser. Rolling with my slums. Stay down the ride.